Fumble through! Fumble through! Fumble through! Fumble through! Fumbling through, fumbling through. Fumbling through, fumbling through. Fumbling through!
What's up, Buttercups, Edicaps, Ettons, and Bogarts, and welcome to Fumble Through.
Fumble Through!
A podcast that grew up near a nuclear submarine graveyard and now has two heads. Come fly with us as we touch down into the land of make-believe and continue the ever-growing drama of Reg, Miles, and Flopsy as they try to interact with the world around them in a reasonable manner. If you'd like to interact with us in a reasonable manner,
please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. There is the Fumble Through Role Players Guild, which is a really good place to have conversations with like-minded fans and us.
that's why I don't post on them. There's too many Star Wars comments that make me upset.
Stop being wrong.
Ooh.
If that's wrong, I don't ever want to be right.
Good, you never are.
Continuing on from our ever-popular segment of Dicey Questions, this week we ask, if you were an evil supervillain, where would you put your lair and what defenses do you think it would have?
That's a good question.
Brett's getting plans out.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's actually
What?
drawing it
Yeah,
up.
you don't need to get blueprints. You have this pre-prepared.
Here's what I had. earlier. I'd like my evil lair to be on an alternate dimension so I don't have to go anywhere to get there.
The upside down.
I was more thinking the inside out.
Oh, okay, cool.
There it is. Yeah, I'd just like to be able to get to it when I want to get to it. I don't have to travel to and from somewhere that no one else can go to. That's also its defense. No one else can get there, so it can be whatever I want it to be. It's mine.
Whereabouts is this secret pocket dimension?
Just left of the perineum.
In your prison pouch? Right in the prison pouch.
Mine already exists, and I'm not going to tell you about its defenses.
What, your
you'll know.
perineum?
Yeah, that's an imaginary thing.
It's ribbed for your pleasure.
Yeah, the only way to get into Brett's place is an episiotomy, right?
There's nothing appeasing
Just buy
about
me
that.
flowers and take me to the movies.
Shocking. All right, Lindsay. What's yours? What's this secret base that you don't want to talk about? It? Can we? Do we have to redact
Have
this?
you heard of the Bermuda Triangle?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think everyone goes missing there?
Do you know statistically just as many plane crashes happen in the Bermuda Triangle as anywhere else on Earth?
Yep. But the mystery of it stops people from going there more often.
I actually
To
found
Bermuda?
a new mystery about the Bermuda Triangle. No, I'll have to fact check this. I did get it from TikTok. But there was a guy that was talking about how little we know about the reproductive cycle of eels.
Yep.
And apparently they migrate to the Bermuda Triangle and that's where they reproduce, but they still don't know how it happens.
Wow.
When you dissect an eel, apparently there are no reproductive organs within an eel.
It's because they leave them all at the Bermuda
but
Triangle.
again, disclaimer, it was on TikTok. I haven't fact checked it yet.
Sci-
boy.
Eels up inside you.
Were you a scientist at one point in your
Oh,
life?
yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Kind of.
maybe.
Yeah, biological science,
Yeah,
nothing to be.
It's fine. It's fine.
What about you, Luke?
I don't know.
We're the good guys. That's the problem.
I remember watching a movie with is it Rutger Hauer?
Yep.
Where they was traveling through dimensions, but it would be like in the most inane places, the gateway that you get to these other dimensions. So it'd be like between maybe two trees, and if somebody walked around the outside of the trees, they didn't pass through. But if they went through specifically these two trees, they would end up in the alternate dimension where he was hiding with all his gear and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, that would be, I guess.
So you live with Brett.
Yeah, kind of, but with a wider entrance, or maybe not.
Oh, God.
Depends on what you bought me for dinner.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, I can't remember the name of that film. I'll have to look it up. Or, you guys find out for me and put it on our social media somewhere.
So my evil lair would probably be some type of mountainous cave structure. I'd love it to be somewhere high at high altitudes. I kind of envisage something a little bit like the Thunderbirds, but in a mountain. So like a swimming pool that opens, has like nuclear turrets and lasers, like
Nuclear turrets.
yeah,
So if someone comes to your place, you'll
nuclear, so that if there's an impending world threat, because I need to be prepared for the aliens, but also the more I say this, the more I think I'm pretending to be Dr. Evil.
Well, I was just kind of thinking, how do you get there every time? Because
Teleport.
I'm not thinking you as having weird powers. I'm just thinking you have gone evil, bought a mountain, and then you climb it every day to...
Bought a mountain.
Yeah.
Just fucking buy a mountain.
Why would I ever have to leave? I've got everything I want. It's a mountain.
Once you get it up there.
It'll be fine. Someone else does all. No one said you have to think about the logistics of getting it built.
Well, I did, okay.
I'll get it teleported in. It'll be fine.
Mine's pretty easy to build.
That's true.
Put it in a different dimension. I don't know how easy that is. Yeah. How does he go dimensional hopping? Not a thing. I mentioned 2 things that could actually happen. And how do you do that?
What do you mean you can't dimensional hop?
Mine's a magical space
At the top of a mountain.
at the top of a mountain.
Did you get there like with the sling ring from Doctor Strange? That'd be pretty cool.
I imagine that I get there every time that I want to go there. It's like the beginning of Temple of Doom, and I have to jump out of a plane on an inflatable raft and slide down the top of the mountain to get into there.
So now I'm actually thinking, I think I do have an evil lair. It's the toilet, and it's where I go for solitude. No one can go in there after I've been there.
That's every male.
Defenses everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have had a pretty eventful night so far. The beginning of tonight, you started by fighting with a mud-like creature. A big jet of mud splattered everywhere, much like Brett in his secret lair. Now that's a callback. And then,
I like
then you found another dead body. Another dead body. Now, what can you tell me about this dead body?
It's dead.
Correct.
It had claw
Extra
marks.
XP for Lindsay.
It had claw marks like the previous dead bodies. The footprints were around.
Did we check it for clay in the mouth?
Yes, we did.
We did,
Pretty
didn't
sure
we?
we
Yeah.
did. We
Yeah.
did a full check.
But he works at the brick factory.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right. We made the connection, right?
Yeah.
And there were wolf prints around, and then they turned into small human prints.
Goblin-like, wasn't it?
Goblin-like.
Yes.
And we weren't sure if it was naked or not.
Here's a question.
That was
Yes,
a very
that is
big
true.
part of that conversation.
Here's a question. Do goblins, when they turn into werewolves, get bigger, or is it just a smaller?
Werewolves are wolves, not goblins. So
they're not
I
like-
don't know if this is a were-goblin or a goblin wolf. Is it a goblin turning into a wolf, or is it a lycanthropic goblin?
Sorry, I liken.
What you're saying is the size of the wolf relative to the size of the
Yeah.
being that's changing.
And also, isn't it like part humanoid wolf creature, isn't it? Or is it just a wolf?
Well, like a human turns into a wolf-like human, werewolf.
Yeah.
If a wolf bites a goblin, is it a goblin turning into a goblin wolf?
Yeah. So is it a small size?
Or is it a human being bitten by a lycanthropic goblin, so it's a were-goblin?
I got
Wait,
So the question is, do I want to be a lycanthropic giant at some point? Because that would be fucking
I'm very
scary.
confused by this. If it's a werewolf, it's a human, but if it's a goblin, it's a goblin wolf, not a goblin where it's not called a humor wolf.
Not sure where we've gone now.
Yeah.
I was just wanting to know if it's going to be a small creature or a.
Yeah, we're
large
getting all
creature
tense, and then this little
or a
like
medium
chihuahua's going to come around the corner.
This little tiny thing.
Scrappy-Doo.
Well, I would draw you back to answer that question. If you have a druid who can wild shape, druids can wild shape into creatures of all different sizes. So they can grow, they can shrink.
Not
they
for a
can-
while though, aren't they? Isn't it?
But, it's not, I'm not talking specifically it's a druid.
You're saying
but
we're up against
druids,
the 7th level druid?
druids can change their size. So when you wild shape or polymorph something or change into anything, you do change in size and mass. So enlarged person, we've seen Reg do it.
But that's magic. Isn't lycanthrope a disease?
Oh, some would. Who knows?
Magical
what it would
disease.
be.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a fantasy world, Lindsay. Who could tell?
From unprotected magical sex.
Yeah, all I know is that werewolves go somewhere into the Bermuda
An
and they have
STMD.
sex, but nobody knows where their reproductive organs are. What's an STE?
An STMD, a sexually transmitted magical disease. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
I've got a case of the glitter dusts.
Oh, God.
I've blinded
Oh.
myself.
That's got to be from a stripper, right?
We took a deep dive on that one, eh? All right.
So we're back to my magical lair.
Yep.
What in the shit?
So, you had made the... Oh, sorry, Brett.
There was a lady who was distraught. She got taken home. Another guy who knew the guy.
Mhm.
Apparently, he worked at a brickworks. And there's some relationship with a textiles lounge, I think, somewhere in this.
There wasn't... No, the bone collectors got called.
Ah, that's right. That's
And
right.
you guys
somebody's
are-
wife. Somebody
you
was going on
are-
about his wife.
You are convinced that the bone collector, the chief bone collector, is related to the textile guy. That's your own fault for
We're-
making assumptions.
We're detectives. We know these things.
Mhm.
That's true.
So you made the wise choice to come back to the watch house, and as you've arrived at the watch house, you've noticed that the doors are wide open. The doors aren't broken. They're not forced. They're not cracked. They're not off their hinges. They're just open.
Lights still on.
The lights are still on, streaming from inside. There is no other sign of anything untowards except that the doors that you left closed are wide open. What are you going to do?
Yeah, Flopsy Thunderback wasn't supposed to be coming back, though, was he?
No, I think this is highly inappropriate and got a very costly piece of fabric in there under Thundercrack's desk that we must protect at all costs.
Well, this is our precinct, and we will protect it. Off you go, Reg.
Okay, Reggie's gonna stealthily get out to the door and have a little peek in.
Okay, you get to the door. Just give me a perception check, please, as you're looking around, and a stealth check.
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say I really want to do a stealth check. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Got a stealth check of 29.
I'm just rolling for no reason. Oh, God, that dice is
Can you replace all divots, please?
good. That was in my dice tray. There's these giant dice that I got.
So I had a stealth check of 29
Yep.
and a perception of 12.
Okay. You notice that there is nothing different here except where Jerome was on the bench, gone, empty. There are just manacles hanging from those pipes from the bits of the bench that you had secured him to, that you'd anchored him onto, and he is gone.
I'll turn to the others and say, well, kind of wave them to come up,
Mhm.
and I'll step in.
Are we stealthing in?
I haven't given you, Reggie hasn't given you any indication you need to.
Step in.
Right. So,
Step into
so who's
Christmas,
leading the
step-
way as you walk inside?
Reggie, I assume, first. And
Yes.
then me, and then Flopsy.
Yeah,
Okay,
weapons
so you'll-
drawn, weapons
you'll
drawn.
go
Miles,
in-
and then Flopsy.
You will go in as a team, weapons drawn, bursting through the remainder of the swinging doors, coming into the foyer. At that moment, you hear the sound of laughter. Someone is in Sergeant Thunderback's office. Kind of sounds like he might be in residence.
Well, let's head to the office then.
Yep.
Do we want to do it stealthily?
Yep.
Yep, cool.
You stealth up. Everyone make a stealth check for me, please.
6 for Miles.
14 for Reg.
24.
Good on you.
Wow.
Wow.
24 is
Yeah.
amazing.
So Reg stumbles over Miles.
Miles gets in the way.
Fucks up my...
Pippi's like,
Yeah.
alert! Stealth activated.
Miles is just dragging along some chains behind him just in case he needs them. Look, you look into Sergeant Thunderback's room, and there in front of you see both Sergeant Thunderback and Jerome sitting in a room sharing a drink. Jerome's wearing a weird necklace full of a bluish purpley type of flower around his bare chest. Because remember, last time you saw him, he was in a state of semi-undress. He's wearing pants at
I was
least.
going to say, is he...
But he doesn't have a shirt on.
Wow.
And he's got this this wreath of flowers sitting around his neck. Anyone that has knowledge naked.
No, it's naked.
No, it's naked.
Yep, he's well endowed.
Anyone,
He too has a potion of.
There's Brett's hiding place.
anyone who has a knowledge nature can make a check right now to see if you can identify it.
23 for Miles.
I'll help you.
25.
You
for
can't
me.
help each other if you're going to be stealthy.
I'm
so,
20.
So you're you look at it, you make both of you realize it's a flower known as Ocinitum. And
Did
its
you-
more common name, Wolfsbane.
Can you spell that, please?
WOLFSBANE.
Use it in a sentence.
It's German. It's
Wolfsbane.
in origin. It means when a human. No,
Oquinita. What is it?
Oquinita.
Aconitum.
Aconitum.
Aconitum. Any floralites out there? You could perhaps tell me if I've got that right or wrong. Hit us up on social media to tell me whether or not I've got this flower's name, because it exists in both the imaginary and the real world.
Our
Like
survey
everything, right?
says.
Is floralite a real thing, or do you mean botanist?
Either or. I mean, you might say botanist. I make up words for things.
Okay. Any ETs out there?
So you see both of them just sharing a bit of a drink. They don't actually seem to have noticed you, even though Miles has made a cacophonous roar of a stealth check. But
So there was no reason why we would be expecting Thunderback to be here at this time of night, right?
no, well, other than the fact that he works here.
But he's
Didn't
not
say
on,
he'd be returning tonight.
Yeah, he's not
He
on
literally said
duty.
he would not be returning tonight.
Why has he left the front door open, dickhead?
Just want to make sure he hasn't disturbed that bolt of cloth we stashed underneath his
Okay, cool.
desk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at that moment you notice Thunderback's muddy footprints. Just traipsing, just dirt, grime, blood, things that you wouldn't be able to get out, like red wine. What else is
Quick,
a
get the
stain?
white wine.
Bleach.
Yeah, what's it? Bleach. Just other stains that can't be removed from a bolt of cloth.
What I see his boots are stained with bleach.
There's white footprints in the carpet.
Privileged footprints.
Oh. Zip.
Okay.
Yeah, so what are you going to do? It's up to you guys.
Let's go and say hello, make sure they know each other, know what's going on.
Hello, sir?
Oh, Thunderback stops exactly what he's doing. He looks at you over his pipe with one eyebrow raised and a wry smile on his face. And he says, I see that you've met Jerome here. He tells me that he might be in danger of turning into a werewolf. Good thing I found some of these flowers to take the edge off. Can't be as bad as the time you were being stalked by a spectre, eh, Jerome? Took us ages to find the holy symbol of Pharasma that time of night. Well, thanks for keeping him safe, you know. And he kind of looks at you and he looks at each of you in turn and then just make a sense motive.
14 for Little Reg.
I have a -2 to my sense motive, which takes me up to 17.
Oh, nice. 14 for Flopsy.
14. You kind of get the sense of a bit of a wink as he looks at you, as if he's trying to be subtle about it, so Jerome's not sensing
would
what's going on.
Appear the sergeant's been around this merry-go-round with Jerome before.
Eventually, Thunderback is there, and he dismisses Jerome, and he says, "Look, go on home to your wife. Like, take that necklace there. You should be safe for the rest of the evening. If you need any help, don't forget you can always come back." At that point, he kind of sits back in his chair and he motions for you guys to sit down. He says, "Well, what's been happening? Fill me in."
Sorry, we weren't expecting you back tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting me to be back tonight. The discussions with the hierarchy are going quite badly. Seems that the one piece of information gathered from the prisoner that you caught is that the members of the Watch are somehow being tainted magically. So until they get to the bottom of that, I've been sent home till they can find out how this control is happening.
You seem to be quite a chipper mood for being laid off.
I haven't been laid off. What do you mean? I've been
Suspended, sent home.
No, I've been sent back here out of the meetings.
Oh, you said sent home, so I assumed that meant you were being suspended from duty.
You assume a lot.
Sense motive.
Give me a badge and your gun, sir.
That's a 1.
Yeah. No, he's just till they find out anything more. The meetings have been cancelled, so he's allowed to return back to duties.
You've missed quite a night. We've had we had Jerome was first up. We had a man assault me saying I slept with his wife. We had a magpie that I'm got a sleep strike tomorrow morning and relocate. And there was a mud monster attack and another murder.
A mud monster attack?
Yeah.
Wait, did you say a murder?
Yep.
That's been a murder.
Another murder?
Yes, another wolf murder.
By
But
a mud monster?
No, that was by a goblin.
By a goblin? Do you tell?
Yes, well, it seems to match those claw marks murders that we've had in the past. Another body was found with claw marks into it. We had a witness this time who said she saw a dark creature attack this man, and we followed the footprints, and they turn into small humanoid goblin footprints.
Humanoid goblins?
Yes.
And did you follow those footprints? Where did they lead to?
As far as we followed them as far as we could, but then we lost them.
Blended into the miasma of footprints of a city.
So, what's the next action?
So, sorry, step in if any of you guys
Well, we
want.
were concerned at that point then because our old mate here that you've just sent on his way was saying that he was getting chased down by werewolves. So we made our
Jerome.
we made our way back here to check that he was all right. We were a little bit worried when we got in here and the door was still open, and we weren't expecting you here, sir.
Well, things got a little bit heated where I was, and it was time to step out. It's when they talked about the militia taking over from the Watch.
That's a coup.
That's a deadly business that'll make an already bad situation much worse.
Sir?
Yeah.
We did meet someone from the Pathfinder Society.
Aye.
They said they could do some work in protecting the city as well.
The Pathfinder Society don't really work for the city.
There was some disagreement about the
MO, the method of working.
Yeah.
They want to get paid from what they find when they solve a crime.
That's
Yeah,
all right.
basically.
That's all right.
So they get a percentage of anything that's off a crime scene.
Think of them like private detectives a little bit.
But it's evidence, sir. How can we just give them a slice of evidence?
Well, Pathfinders go around and they collect what they can. That's their due. That's what they do. That's why I'm not a Pathfinder. I don't believe in it myself.
I just need to point out that there's a bolt of cloth under your desk that may or may not belong to me.
What, you mean this bolt of cloth that's
Yes.
clearly labelled?
Yes, clearly.
That doesn't say Flopsy on it.
No.
Yeah.
I forgot about the porter cloth.
I don't know what he's talking about, sir.
Boys, can you clarify what your question is about the Pathfinder Society?
Can we utilize them to bolster the lack of the Watch in the city?
Nobody controls the Pathfinders. They're their own situation.
Can we request it, though, sir?
You can't do fucking shit, mate.
Well,
You're a fucking recruit. What do you mean, can we? That was a little more aggressive than that.
I felt that one.
I'm wondering, though, if the city might post for Pathfinders to support the protection of this city, and they might take those jobs.
Yeah, Flopsy, that's a great idea, but unfortunately, you're going to have to run for office, get into the right rooms before you can make those suggestions to the people that can affect change. You ain't really going to do that by talking to me. I've been ejected from those meetings. Last I heard, they were thinking about putting a militia into place.
Right.
They'd take over from the Watch. I'm not sure that's a good idea. That'll be full. They think that there's a little bit of corruption now. Wait till you'll just let any old so-and-so into the Watch.
Well, sir, what the problem is, we have this bag of stuff we found when the mud monster attacked from a goblin.
Aye.
Flopsy's looking at you and shaking his head
Miles
right at
knows.
you.
And Pathfinder claim that half of it is theirs.
Well, what
A quarter.
were the Pathfinders involved in this?
Yeah, one of them came in to aid.
Well, seems right to me.
Sir, do you think I'm unsure how the Pathfinders work in the city. What's the relation? Can you tell me more about them?
Sounds like a good gig.
Are you unfamiliar with the Pathfinder Society in general?
It seems there are some gaps in my understanding.
What do you know?
They find paths.
There's the gap.
they like to claim they claim loot from what they solve, I guess, or kill.
They do jobs, right?
Adventurers
you
of
really
some
don't
kind.
know much
No.
about them.
Which is why we're asking you.
Yeah. So the Pathfinders are an organization of adventurers that span the globes, all of the globes. So the Pathfinders are an organization of adventurers that span the world. They go around exploring and adventuring. They document their experiences, and their whole ideal is that they are bringing back the history of the world in what they call chronicles. They're really great kind of adventurers that like to be flashy and take things that don't belong to them and murder people as they go through it. And at that point, you can feel a bit of disdain from him. Like there's a respect there, but there's also a bit of disdain because of that side of the Pathfinders. They're usually based in lodges, the big ones here in Absalom, based in the foreign quarter.
Is that the one that was run by Dringle Dring?
Dringle Dring's one of the venture captains, yes.
Now, what's the city's stance on us working with them? What's the right way to partner? Like, if they join in an investigation, can we stop them? How do we?
They're their own free will,
Right.
really. They're a separate organization.
Sanctioned by the city?
They are sanctioned. Essentially, they have carte blanche where they go, as long as they uphold their own ideals, which seem to be mostly in conjunction to ours.
Now, it seems some of them might have some information that could help us in our investigation.
Hey, what information is that?
Well, there was some intimation that they know something about the Black Rosses and their connection to the guy that was murdered that we were protecting tapestries from, and
Aye, what exactly are you getting at here, Flopsy?
I'm wondering
going
if
to need something a bit more concrete.
I'm wondering if it's
like
okay
that.
for us to go and talk to them, or in fact, do an undercover mission and join them.
An undercover mission into the Pathfinders. I think you'll find that that's a little bit beyond your ken at the moment. The Pathfinders is a pretty exclusive club that you've got to get into.
What if it was an above the covers mission?
Well, again,
like
don't you
above
have
the
some
covers.
murders that you're supposed to be
I
looking
don't think
into?
we really need to worry about that at the moment. We've got two very good leads on these murders that we need to investigate. One is the latest murder victim was working at the brick factory, and there was clay in Glowen's mouth when we found her. And the other one is that we found those goblin prints, and when the mud monster attacked, we saw goblins running through the sewers. So I think we can check out those two and worry about getting into Blackross after we've found the murderer.
I'm not going in sewers again.
And the murder links back to the Blackross anyway, because Virgil's staff, the staff of the Aldane, was on the first murder site.
Dung dung.
Yes, but it was also a wolf, so it was linked back 2 ways because it was the Wolf Clan. You've heard about the Wolf Clan, right, Sarge?
Aye.
So apparently that's all connected. And okay, I thought there was some information that we might get out of the Blackross. Going through the Pathfinders to get that might have been useful, but no, okay, no, I'm happy to go into the.
Flopsy, I like your high ideals, but you're playing a game that's far above your station. It's far above my station. You need to bring me back something concrete if you're gonna go down that road. I'm gonna need more than just I've got a hunch.
Right.
So do we want to go to the brick factory first? Brick makers? What are they called? Brickers?
Yeah, what are brickmakers called?
Brickinists?
Fucking hell. I think they're called Brickmasters
Brickmasters?
at the Lego
Floralists?
factory.
Oh, no, they're Jupo guys, right?
Yeah. Thunderback just looks at you and essentially, he gets your full report. You tell him sort of everything that's going on. He questions you in certain places. And then he says, look, at the end of the day, just make sure that you're holding to the oaths of the office. Right now is the time where we need to be the watch and we need to be on the streets. I don't know about you, but there's something going on out there and it feels bad. You sense that, like I sense that, I'm sure. It's in the boots of your feet.
What?
It's an old watchman saying.
So we did notice there was a bit of ill will in the citizenry towards the watch.
Aye.
They want our jobs, that's why.
There's a fit. Well, they don't want our jobs. They know how poorly it pays. But there's been a lot of actions towards the citizenry that hasn't gone well or been received well. We did recruit a young watchman called Crasham, who started his first shift the other night. He did 1 hour on watching on the steps. He was very useful, and I think we could continue to recruit at the younger citizenry if that's useful for you.
Well, perhaps that you should make them go into the night watch just like you did. That's the range to get yourself into the watch. There is a procedure. Even when the going gets tough, we've got to remember, we've got to do things by the by, especially where we are right now.
Yep, so brickmakers it is then, eh? Since you don't want to go in the sewers?
Yeah, I think, yeah. I'm not quite ready to face that again yet.
You'll be right, Reg.
Reg keeps smelling his clothes. All right, let's check out the sewers. Let's do that then.
It's up to you guys. What are you thinking?
Flopsy?
Not wanting to get above my station, I think the sewers is the way to go, and then come back to the brickworks early in the morning.
Fine. Let's do the sewers.
Do you want to hold my hand?
We will need a
Do you know how
certain
tippy-
supply of flares.
Yes, we've got the flares. We've got one on each hand. One between the cheeks.
You guys leave the watch post, kind of filling Thunderback in. Thunderback begins a mountain of paperwork that he has to get through. While he's drinking, he again looks disheveled and old, like he's been put through the ringer. He's been sitting in meetings, getting his ass handed to him for the entire duration, and things aren't going well. So he sends you out, and he says, "Look, The best thing you can do right now is solve this case. We need a feather in our cap, and perhaps you three are the ones that can provide it. Do what you can, but see if you can be quick about it.
As we walk off, Miles is like, Sergeant Miles has a good ring to it, don't you think?
Did you get demoted? Weren't you a governor at one point?
not officially.
He's thinking about real titles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me how you're going to go about. What's the next step for this group? Where are you going to go? What's
So
the
we're
next
going
thing?
to
Well, you go to the hole in the
the hole
ground
in the
and
ground.
down to where the goblin, try and track that goblin down. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool.
So you find your way back to where you fought the mud creature, and yes, there is still a giant hole in the ground. By this point, it's been cordoned off a little bit. Some of the mud's been sort of sloshed down the hole, and you can see looking down it, there's a 30-foot drop that goes all the way down into like a rock bed that is probably the rock bed under this island. But also there is the series of sewer tunnels that have been almost sheared into, much like that house you saw in the ice that had been cut into. You can see that idea of sheared off tunnels under the city, and you can see about 3 different sewer tunnels that lead off from this point.
Can we see anywhere in the street an actual access point? Like, as in like a manhole with a ladder that might go down.
You can find one not too far
Rather
away.
than
There's
having to
not one
rope
in
down.
there's not one in eyesight from here, but you would have to go. You think that the drain that was this part of the street was the sewer access part.
Which way did the goblin go? Because we were watching him.
Mm-hmm. You think that you track which way the goblin goes.
Yep.
It went down one of the T's. So
Okay. We'll follow that and try and find the nearest access point, or do we want to tie a rope down and shimmy
What
on
would
down?
be quicker?
either or, it's
Alright.
up to you guys.
Let's just go down there and follow the tracks of the goblin.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be rolling off for acrobatics or climbing down.
Well, no, we'll tie a rope to a lamppost, lower it down. Take 10.
So you get down into the sewers and you start following the tunnel along behind where you think the goblin is. Is anyone going to be searching for tracks or looking for signs?
Is it dark?
Egress? It is definitely dark in
Tippy
here.
would
So
be lit
those
up.
of you that don't have
We need
dark
a light
vision
source. Hey,
are going to need a
can
light
I light a
source.
torch?
You can light a
I'll
torch.
light a torch.
The
Just to-
methane catches.
Just to be clear, there's no way we could get tracking dogs or something that could track by scent, right?
You don't have
Not
that
at this
resource.
time of night.
No, you
Yeah.
don't have that
So
resource.
it's above our pay grade.
Who wants to roll survival?
Sure, I got a little bit of that.
I can
Anybody else
aid.
got any?
I can help you.
I rolled a 4. Well, it's a 14 in total.
I can't help
You
you.
can't help me?
I cannot help you.
Okay, 14 it is then.
It's hard to find tracks, especially now that the mud has washed itself down through the sewers. You can't really find anything else, but you can follow the tunnels.
We're going to do a quick detect magic down here.
Mhm.
Just scan around. Any pings, any...
Nothing really pings. How far is the tech magic? 60
60
foot?
foot.
Yep. Nothing really pings magical. How long are you going to sort of keep the detection of...
Till it pings.
Which way should I walk to get a ping? And then I'll tell you.
So you find yourselves moving through the sewers. You can't really find those tracks. Like, unlike the sewer that you were in when you fought the crocodile, there isn't that deep kind of waist height kind of pool in the middle of these sewers. You think these are more of the drainage and that you were in a main tunnel when you were there. So these sewers are more like just a big circle with a small portion of waste in the liquid waste. But it's street waste. It's not sewer waste.
Can Reg take a perception check to just have a little look at anything else that I might be able to see that's of interest
Sure.
or anything like that?
Yep.
I try and do that with my eyes closed. It's got a 12.
Okay, Reg trips over and falls in a pile of fecal matter.
My eyes.
Not again, pink eye.
We know which tunnel the goblin went down, though, right?
You definitely saw the goblin come down.
So we could go down that tunnel and try
Yeah.
and pick up a track as we go.
Yes,
You're gonna
which you've tried and failed to pick up a track.
Is it a dead end? We haven't gone
But
to
we
a
can
dead
say-
end, have we?
Well, no, but you do get to a point where there's an intersection and yet again a whole heap of branches that come off. So there's the way that you came and 3 other ways, and it's not like they're north, west, south, east. They're sort of at angles.
3 other ways?
Yeah.
3 people.
Perception check.
Stop it.
Tippy, make a perception check.
Yeah. What are you perceptoring for? What are you looking
Noises or signs of travel. Because you would imagine there's not many people walking around the sewers.
No, and you've lost any sign that there is of footprints. So back when you were searching for the goblin, you really can't see signs of where things have gone.
I
You've
rolled an
lost
80,
the
20.
track.
I didn't. I can't do it, but Tippy could. So that's 25 for Tippy.
Yeah.
Of the 3 pathways, potential routes that they could have taken, does any one seem particularly easier to go down? Are they
No,
all generically?
They're all
sort of same?
fairly
Yep.
generic.
So
Seems like this is a dead end.
So there's, yeah.
Well, no, there's 3 ways we can go. Dead ended up being none, right?
It's a ladder up.
The judgment in the look.
It's a DM dead end.
Ah.
Yeah, well, how far do you want to explore there's nothing wrong with exploring the sewers, but you do have to know that the underground, especially in a city like this of sewers, is a complex.
Yeah. Little Reg is
tunnel.
not overly keen on spending more time than he needs to do in the sewers now.
Yeah.
No one's going to beat a 25 on perception, are they? Maybe you? If you're rolling an
No,
A20?
if I roll a natty 20, I will, but no, you want to
Take
kind of take a 20?
a 20.
So well, it also depends what you're looking at. Like your
That's
inner
just
your inner sewer, like you to find the tracks. If you had found the tracks, then maybe it would have been something that you could have continued on with.
No,
But,
I'm looking
but
for.
being in a sewer and just making general spot checks, you see sewer stuff. Like there's nothing out.
So
of
there's no
place.
scrapes along the wall, no
Nothing-
marks on the wall,
nothing
like
that you
chalk
can
marks
see.
for goblins who are pretty
No
dumb.
turtles, no
No.
rats.
No ooze, none of that kind of
No
stuff.
secret
Alright.
doors.
No sounds coming from any of the tunnels.
Nothing that you can hear.
No other
Yeah.
light sources that we can see coming
No.
through.
No.
Alright.
Goblins can see in the dark.
Wasted 20.
Why don't we go like 200 feet down each
Yeah.
branch?
Alright, do
Just
one,
double check.
One and yeah.
Make sure we can't hear anything. I'll do a quick detect magic halfway down and
Cool.
at the end. Keep your ears and eyes peeled for secret doors or secret entrances
Sure.
or anything else. And just do a thorough bit. And, 200 feet down. If we can't find anything down each of these branches, then I think it's a bust.
Done.
All right. Who's leading the way?
Reggie.
All right, Reggie, just make a survival check for me, please.
Can we help him?
No, Reggie, this is Reggie leading.
What am I rolling for?
Just a survival,
A
please.
survival 20.
A survival of 20. At one point, you think you got turned around in the tunnels as you're kind of leading through this complex series of sewer tunnels. But you figure out sort of, I think we might be this area, and you kind of get the smells that you might be near some of the local bakeries or where they make the bread. You kind of get the idea that you're kind of in a factory area or a more industrial estate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll relay that information to the party.
As we're heading down, I'm putting chalk marks on the wall to make sure we can get back.
Nice.
I mean, you spend a fair bit of time down in these tunnels, guys. You get lost. There is nothing that shows you. There's no giant signs that say goblin hideout this way. There's no secret signs that say goblin hideout this way. There is, if you know anything about large cities like this, nefarious creatures like the bandits that you kind of chase down here, they use these tunnels quite often as routes, I guess. But yeah, there's nothing that you have successfully found.
This has been called the Bandits Highway at some points, I believe.
We might as well head back up and either call it a night or.
Let's go to the brickworks.
Go to the
Right.
brickworks,
We're
yes,
just-
yes.
Well,
someone
let's-
might be there who knows something. Otherwise, we'll get to the guard who's there and is like, no, brickworks, need a letter of entry. Go get it from the Black Cross Museum.
Yeah, okay, pretty much. Let's go.
So you make your way out of the sewers, back up to the streets. You're going to go into. Luckily, you're in the industrial kind of estate. So are you
gonna
heading towards?
Clean us off with some prestidigitation.
Perfect. And
Thanks, Flopsy. A little bit more, please, Flopsy.
is it this point that Reg is like curled up against
You
this,
have
rocking back and forth? Not the sewers again, not the sewers. So you start walking towards the brick smelting yard. You get to a pragmatic structure that's silent at this time of night. Usually you can see big smokestacks that come out the top of this factory that are lying a little bit dormant. One of the smokestacks is still sort of working because they obviously don't turn the smelters off. That's a big no-no in the brick making industry. But everything else indicates that this main factory is probably a bit quiet. There are main doors. There are quite a few windows on the ground floor as well. But most of the lights are down. The brickworks itself is a large factory, and out the back of that, there's a field with stacks of bricks in it. As you can imagine, that's the stock that they sell to different companies. It's nestled in on quite a large block of land amongst the other factories that are around it. But you really come at night time when there's no one seeming to be here.
We do a walk around the perimeter and see if there's any security guards.
Mm-hmm. So you come into the front gates, you open those up, you start walking around the perimeter of
being quite obvious about the whole thing.
Yeah, coming in. Are you going to knock on the front door first, or are you just going to do a circle around before anything
Looking
else?
for someone outside who might be securing the area before we start going inside.
As you're coming up the driveway, you don't see anyone. It just depends on how you want to approach, whether you're coming in through the front door or whether you're just going to circle around quietly.
Going to circle around loudly and see if someone pops out so we can say hello to them, and then I'll knock on the door.
Okay, so you start walking around the brickworks itself. You notice that on the ground floor there are windows and sort of a couple of offices, and you can see the foyer area where near the front doors you can sort of see into that. The more you get around the back of the actual brickworks themselves, the less windows there are, and the less kind of egress in that you see as you get to the factory section, the part of it. You get around to the back and you can see a big loading dock, like a big chunk of wooden doors that are shut at the moment. There's a ramp leading down that obviously has roller marks as trolleys full of bricks are wheeled out on their construction conveyor belts on these steam-powered engines. They come out to the back and they drop bricks off in stacks out the back on what we would know today as forklifts, or the equivalent of type of forklifts that are there. So there's a whole field full of stacks of bricks around in the back.
Nice.
And even behind that, you see different types of materials that would go towards making bricks. So you can see sand, you can see gravel, you can see clay, you can see all different types of brick making soils.
So they don't dig it here.
No, they've obviously brought it in, and then right next to at the back, there's a huge silo that you can assume might be filled with liquid or something that they put them into the casts and then smelt the bricks. I think smelting the bricks or firing the bricks might be the way.
Can we check the clay?
Yeah, you can go and have a look at all the clay.
Is there a match for the clay that we found in Glowin's mouth?
Just make a perception for me. I was going to make a match joke then.
Oh, not on a 1 from Reg. Reg sticks it in his eye.
Reg's skin
It looks
gets
so
soft.
close. He's like, ah!
Big guy again.
16 on Flopsies.
16 from
Yeah,
Miles.
definitely enough for you. You walk past the clay section, and while there are different types of clay that make red bricks, white bricks, that you find a clay that you're like, oh, this looks very similar, the components of a clay.
Yep.
So, no, you find a white clay that very much matches particularly the sample that you got from inside of the mouth.
Okay, we'd like to do some genomic sequencing on this.
Did you say gnomic sequencing?
Okay, shall we knock on the door and see if there's anyone home? Anything else to check out while we're out here?
Let's do it.
No.
Go around the front door and have a knock.
You make your way around to the front doors. You walk right up and you just rattle on the door.
Yep.
Yes, we knock on the door.
And moments later, you see some movement from inside. And you see a guy come out, crossbow in hand, opens a little shutter on the door, and looks through and says,
I hold up my badge.
"What can I do for you?"
Hi, we're just coming from. I'd like to unfortunately tell you that one of your staff has been murdered.
All right, who's that?
Kobrick. No, Kobrick the bricklayer.
Kubrick, the
is
bricklayer.
what- is what
Is
I've
that
got.
what he was called?
His name was Kubrick Ixmath.
Smith? Yeah. And his friend was Slim
Shady.
Slim Runbar.
Rumbar. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to interject here with DM knowledge. Slim Rumbar was the guy who died. Kubrick was the friend.
Oh, right. I got it around the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Someone died, you say?
Yes, Slim Rumbar unfortunately was murdered tonight, and we want to ask a few questions.
Sure. Yeah, all right. And he kind of opens the doors and says, "How can I help you?"
What's your relationship to this institution?
I'm one of the night guards.
What is your name, sir?
My name's Wodo.
Wodo.
How do you spell that?
Wodo, Flanco. Wodo Flanco.
Mr. Wodo, did you see
Just Wodo's fine.
Slim leave today?
I can tell you I'm not really sure who Slim is. There's heaps of people that work. He's probably one of our factory workers. I don't really mingle with the day staff.
Right. Well, I'm gonna guard to guard. I'm gonna lay a little bit of knowledge on you.
Have you heard about the good word?
He's going rogue.
This is not the first murder we've seen of this type in the last few days, and on previous murder scenes, we have found clay that matches the clay from this brick making establishment.
You don't say.
Have you had any stock go missing or seen anyone sniffing about at night?
Just make a.
I love it. It's nice.
Just make a diplomacy check for me.
Recently, there were 3 guys hanging out the back looking at the clay.
That's a 12.
12 on a diplomacy.
Oh, sorry, 13 on diplomacy.
Look, I can say that there has been some disruptions at night here. We've had a few moments where some of our brick piles have been knocked over the course of the evenings. I can't say whether or not anything has been or has not been taken. I just thought it was a bunch of kids coming out here to do what kids do. Master Prem has asked me to just keep a bit of an extra eye open.
And you haven't seen anything when you've gone to investigate these mishappen
Nothing that I've seen.
since motive?
Yep.
7.
Yeah, you think he's telling the entire truth. He kind of says, it really does surprise me because there's been a heightened guard presence in this area of late anyway.
Just a little confused. Who is on guard tonight?
I am.
Just you?
Just me.
It's a large premises, isn't it?
Well,
It's a lot for you to do by yourself.
It's all locked up.
I mean, we've already walked around this place before we came and talked to you.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see us?
It's pretty hard to pick up a whole heap of bricks and take them away without someone noticing you, though.
I mean,
it's a bit different for someone just to walk around.
I mean, you said it was all locked up and we didn't even encounter a lock on the front door.
You didn't just open the front door.
That's what you said. We didn't make us.
You knocked on the front door and he opened a slide and came and talked to you.
How did we get in the premise?
He let you in.
He let you
After we
guys in.
presented ourselves.
I think Lindsay's
There's
had a
nothing
stroke.
on
Did we?
there's nothing
Yes.
on the gate. We can get into the yard, but not
Yeah.
into the building.
Okay.
So he's saying doesn't matter about the yard because stealing stuff from out there is really hard
Right.
because it's noisy. Can't get inside. He's inside, totally secure because he's there.
Gotcha.
What do you mean by there's been an increased presence of guards?
Well, there's been a whole heap of guard watchmen. Your type.
Watchmen.
Yeah. People in uniforms like yours. They've been all over the industrial area
When?
all the time. I thought something was happening.
Has this been yesterday, today, the last several days, or
I'd say at least the last 2 weeks.
last 2 weeks? Interesting. And do you know any of those guards? And do you know them by name? Have they been regular ones around here, or?
None. Well, I don't know any guards. I just seen guards around. I thought something was happening. Obviously, with the increase, I thought maybe Master Prem had called in some favors and made sure that the security was up. That's why I didn't challenge you guys as you were walking around.
Where can we find this Master Prem?
Master Prem will be here in the morning. He owns the place.
Do you mind if we wait for Master Prem?
It's a few hours off yet.
We can sleep anywhere. We're pretty good at that.
I don't need to sleep, and if you don't mind, I might do a little. If you could walk me around the establishment, that would be great. If I could follow you on your rounds and maybe assist on perceiving any of this nefarious activity.
I'm more than happy to show you through the factory grounds. And he kind of takes you on a bit of a tour. So obviously the front area is all foyer and offices that go off to the side, and there's like a clerical administration wing. And he shows you down there, and he opens up the factory floor itself. And moving into the factory, you can see that the very middle of the factory itself is like it looks like there is a molten pit right in the middle that fuels all the furnaces. From there, there's conveyor belts with brick molds and different bricks going in through furnace kind of areas. And he can show you through the standard. All of it's quiet at the moment. You can still see some of the furnace, especially the main furnace, is still warm and going off. And he kind of talks to you how they make the bricks, and then they put all the bricks on the carts, and then they take them out to the back. And he says, that's all I know about brick making right here.
Do you know where the clay comes from that you make the bricks from?
I assume that Master Prem gets that shipped in.
Right. I think you do a wonderful job securing the area. Look at this. Look at all the doors you have to make sure are closed and locked.
That's right.
It's a lot of work for just one person. I think you've got
Just
cause
make
to
a
talk to Master
diplomacy
Prem.
chest for me.
But you're blind as a bat, you dumb fucker.
You see him swell a little bit, and then he kind of realizes who's talking to him, and he deflates a little bit more, and he's like,
It's not really high praise from the watch, is it? That was a natural 3 with a -2 on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he shows you around. Look, he's quite cooperative with you. Obviously, depending on how you press your luck, like you guys like to do. If it's just a rudimentary walk around, he'll show you around, say there's nothing going on. You're quite welcome to check the locks or whatever you need to do, but it might be best if you come back in the morning if you want to talk to Master Prem.
I think that's a good idea, Flopsy. I've got some things I think we should prepare before we come back and go and deal with anything further.
Do you need me for that? I was wondering if I waited in Master Prem's office, maybe have a cuppa and
Yes,
just...
I think I may.
I think it might be, and that's where you've just pushed your luck. So, he's not having that. He's asking you to come back. It's not proper for people to allow people in here. It's not part of his job. So he said, look, if you want to talk to Master Prem, you'll have to come back in the morning.
Just doing what Flopsy does. Righto, well, we'll come back in a couple of hours. If you might put a pot on for us, that'd be great. We'll be quite tired by then. We've been up all night,
My shift will be over by then.
Oh, who'll be on, Wodo?
Well, there's not really a need for security during the day.
Isn't there? Interesting.
There's plenty of guys around here.
Daytime heist is... okay, Wodo. Off we go then.
Yeah.
Right, so nothing in the sewers.
Safe night.
So, Flopsy,
Yes.
the thing I want to talk to you about and that you might be able to help us with it.
Uh-huh.
We're definitely now going off those footprints,
Yeah.
dealing with lycanthropes.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Yep.
I think that's a good conclusion.
Is there ability for you to make some sort of chemical silver thing to go on weapons or such?
Like a silver sheen?
Yes.
It's possible.
Because I was thinking we might be able to get a pair of gloves for me and, gauntlets for me and Reggie here, and we can maybe apply that to him and use them in case we come across.
Oh, Reggie's actually thinking about hammering the silver pieces into little darts.
Oh.
Right. So you want some silver shuriken and some
Oh, no, that
silver
was just
gauntlets. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just, gloves, a pair of gauntlets I can put on in case we are fighting werewolves would be
Right.
mighty helpful. By the sound of it.
Alternatively, that silver dagger that we have could work.
Yes, I guess.
Ah!
That is true.
Mm.
But, then you still don't have anything.
I will use magic, which will cut through anyway. So there's no way I'm hitting it. I'm not using a weapon.
Okay. Well, one of us is still going to miss out, even if you
I
aren't
can
using a weapon.
make my weapons magical. So
Okay, sure. I'll take the dagger then.
it's all you, baby.
Look, if I were to make some silver sheen, it would cost us somewhat in the vicinity of 300 to 400 gold just in goods for me to do it, and it might take a day or two to make that happen.
Fair enough. I will take that dagger, please.
Cool.
So Wodo will take you out to out past the front door. He basically says, look, come through in the morning, leaving you guys to be on your merry way. Where are you headed now? You've had a look
Back
through the
to the barracks,
sewers. You've had a look through the streets.
It's coming to the end of our shift now,
It's close enough that you can do a bit of a walk around and see the shift out if you need to.
Jump in the pub on the way back, or
I don't know where we're going anywhere, and we've got to be back here in an hour or so.
We don't need to be there right when it opens. I think we can have our normal 8 hours rest and then,
You leave the brick house. You kind of finish up your the rest of your little patrol area. You come back to the watch house. You report into Thunderback, who's asleep at his table at that point in time, and you go back to your barracks. You rest. You take your 8 hours. Nothing. That's not hard to do. You wake up the next day. You go through your rigmarole of learning spells, doing your katas, doing all the things that you guys do in the morning. And as you head out, sitting at the door of your room in the barracks, you have a small package that's sitting there wrapped in paper, and it's tied up with string, and there's a note that's sitting on top of it. The note, as you open it up, says, "It seems that you people are making a mark here in the city. Perhaps these things can assist you in your cause." And instead of a signature, there is a symbol that looks kind of like an X with a diamond on the top. It's a curved kind of X, and you can make me a knowledge nobility, please.
Huh. Reggie can. He's got no knowledge at all.
I do not have that one.
Can't do that untrained, can we? Fuck and fuck.
Can I use...
Knowledge nobility.
Okay.
Don't have it.
I'm going to stab in the dark here and say it's the Black Ross family symbol.
Who are you calling you people?
Yeah, so you open up the basket, and inside the packet you find the following items. There's a cake.
A cake?
Yeah, there's a cake.
That's
so in a
nice.
little white box, there's a little tiny cake that is
Tiny cake.
well, it's enough that you could share. It's not like
Yeah,
a giant
okay. It's
cake
not
for
like
the
a-
entire barracks.
Sorry, yeah.
But like, you know, there's a cake in a box.
Yummy.
There's another pouch with small berries inside of them. And if you detect magic on those berries, as I'm assuming you're going to on the rest of the stuff as well, they will glow magical. There are 3 potions, which are also magical, and they will be labeled with cure potions. And also, there are 3 compasses.
Are they Pathfinder compasses?
Have you ever seen a Pathfinder
We
compass?
saw one
before?
in Saloni's hand
Yeah,
just
Did
yesterday.
too.
didn't
Yeah,
we?
they look very similar to the one that Saloni was wearing.
Are the potions all the same
Yes,
power?
3 potions of cure moderate wounds. They will be, if you would like the stats.
And identifying the berries?
Yep. Just make a check for me. I know you passed this pretty.
I do. 18, yep.
Yep, an
Should be
18.
there.
You think that they are 9 good berries.
What a good berries.
And the cake isn't
No,
magical.
the
very
cake's just
good.
a cake.
They're like
I
mulberries.
mean, it looks magical. How delightful.
Good berries are average.
They're not exceptional berries.
They're just good.
Didn't ping on Detect Evil because they're good berries.
Oh.
Yeah, so you find that you get this this package that's just there with a note on it. There's a symbol on there that you don't recognize, but you do recognize the compasses as something that Saloni
Perhaps this
kind
is
of
something
had.
that came
on
from the
her.
Pathfinders.
At that point, you look out to start your day, and you're quite happy, as we'll continue this next time.
I am somewhat concerned as that we have been given 3 cure mod potions as to what we're going to be walking into
I'm
next.
somewhat curious as to what flavor the cake is.
The cake is chocolate.
It's a good-
chocolate.
it's a
center
Goodberry cake,
with
right?
a white chocolate ganache over the
Alright,
top
good.
of it.
Does it have like little pictures of us on it?
No, there are little pictures of you on it.
Drawn in
The
nicely?
conceit of this party.
She's already
The
playing.
conceit of this party. I would now like to control the entire Pathfinders, please.
No
and,
one-
tell them that they should.
No one has
partner up
ever
with the
sent me a
watch.
cake in real life for doing a good job, and I do a fucking good job.
Well, maybe it's not good enough.